Very good morning to all of you, my friends. Welcome back. So, in the previous session, we started with process costing, wherein we discussed few concepts. That is, what is process costing? Wherein this is a method of costing used by the companies, wherein the raw material has to pass through two or more than two process before being converted into final products. So, those industries uses process costing. Since each process is unique, therefore, a separate process account is to be prepared for every process to record the cost for the same. Thereafter, we discuss the format, a basic question. Thereafter, we discuss normal loss, that is the loss that is inherent in nature and cannot be avoided. When talking about normal loss, the treatment of normal loss, the value of normal loss is absorbed by good units. Apart from this, if any scrap value is realized on sale of normal loss, it will be deducted from the process cost to calculate the cost per unit. Thereafter, we discussed abnormal loss, wherein the loss over and above the normal loss is abnormal loss. It can be avoided if suitable measures are taken. Thereafter, when talking about the treatment of abnormal loss, the value of abnormal loss will be equal to the value of good units. It is to be transferred to costing P&L account. First, it is to be transferred to credit side of the process account and thereafter transferred to costing P&L. We discussed, I think, few questions also. Thereafter, we discussed abnormal gain. When talking about abnormal gain, when the actual production exceeds the expected production, it is abnormal gain. I repeat again, when the actual production exceeds the expected production, we call it as abnormal gain. Alternatively, we can say abnormal gain is basically saving in normal loss. When talking about the treatment of abnormal gain, again, it will be the value of abnormal gain will be equal to the value of good units. It is to be shown in debit side of process account, thereafter transfer to costing P&L. I hope you all are thorough with what I have discussed till now. Anyone having any doubts till now? Good morning, everyone. Yes, Mustafa. So let's proceed further. I think we have to discuss one question on abnormal gain. So the same question what we have discussed for abnormal loss, let's start for abnormal gain also. See the same question, but the second part of that question. So I'm reading the question once again. A product passes through two process first and process second. Material issued to the process first, it is 40,000, wages is 30,000, manufacturing overheads are 27,000. Normal loss is anticipated as 5% of inputs. Now, if the output is 4550, we have already discussed, the scrap value is given, that is rupees 2 per unit. You are required to prepare process first account, value of normal loss or abnormal gain, and units transferred to the next process. Now, second part, also answer if the output is 4850. So let's start with the second part. I request you guys, the same question is there in the study material, else you can download the notes. Those who have not downloaded the notes or are not ready with the material can take the screenshot. So let's start with this question, example number 3. So material is given 5,000 and 40,000 rupees. Wages is 30,000. Manufacturing overheads are 27,000. Normal loss is 5% of inputs. Scrap value realized on sale of normal loss is rupees 2 per unit. So this will be 500. My units that are transferred to the next process is how much? 4850. So now when talking about the inputs, my inputs were 5,000. My normal loss is 250. So my expected output was how much? 5,000 minus 250, that is 4750. However, my actual output is 4850, 100 units extra. I was expecting an output of 4750 units. However, my actual output is 4850, 100 units extra. So we need to balance it. So this is abnormal gain. This 100 units extra is what? My abnormal gain. Now we need to calculate the value. Now, as I told you guys, very important, the value of abnormal loss or abnormal gain will be equal to the value of good units. Neither the product cost will be inflated nor the product cost will be decreased. So abnormal gain और abnormal loss से product cost के ऊपर कोई भी फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. The product cost will be the same. That is the same concept. The total cost of the process 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 97,000 minus scrap value realized on sale of normal loss is 500 divided by my expected production, that is 5,000 minus 250. So this will be how much? We can also say the balancing figure just like abnormal loss. We can say this is also the balancing figure, this is also the balancing figure. So both the approach, either you can calculate also, or you can keep it as balancing figure. Both the approaches are correct. So when talking about abnormal gain, it is to be shown in debit side of process account, and thereafter it is to be transferred to costing P&L. Anyone having any doubts? Very good, Geeta. Very good, Deepika. Admin sir, please post the WhatsApp group link. Now, very important, guys, the process account is simple, but very important. The preparation of abnormal gain account is bit tricky. So, let's start with the preparation of abnormal gain account. See, many students face complication while preparing abnormal gain account. So, guys, do pay attention, focus on the concepts. Now, abnormal gain account is related with normal loss. Abnormal gain account is related with normal loss account also. So what is my normal loss? 250 and 500 to process first, 250 and 500. Now abnormal gain is how much? Now, as I said, that what is abnormal gain? When the actual production exceeds the expected production, it is abnormal gain. Apart from this, we can say abnormal gain is also a saving in normal loss. So now, see, we were expecting a normal loss of 250 units and we are supposed to realize rupees 500 on sale of 250 units. So now, my expected production was 4750. However, my actual production is 4850. So it means what? I was expecting a loss of 250 units. However, there is a loss of only 150 units. See, 5000 was my input and output was 4850. My input was how much? 5000 units. However, my output was 4850. It means what? My loss is only 150 units. I was expecting a loss of 250 units. However, my actual loss is only 150 units. So when talking about the units that are actually sold in the market is only 150 units of normal loss. I repeat again, when talking about the units that are actually sold in the market, these were not 250 units. It were only 150 units. So of these 250 units, only 150 units were sold in the market. Balance were to be adjusted against abnormal gain. I repeat again, as I said, abnormal gain is what? The saving in normal loss. When talking about कि actually कितने units market में बेचे, see 5000 मेरा input था, 4850 is my output. It means units lost or scrapped were only 150 units. So we were expecting a normal loss of 250 units. However, when talking about the units actually sold in the market, it is only 150 units because there is an abnormal gain of 100 units. So very simple, by abnormal gain 100 units, 200 is the value balancing figure we can say. So it will be adjusted against abnormal gain. So balance amount to be transferred to costing P&L, that is my final profit is only 1832. That is my balancing. So this point is the key. It's a bit on the trickier side. So the point is you should pay attention on the concept that my input is 5000, my output is 4850. मतलब actually loss हुआ कितना? Only 150 units का. और वो 150 units हमने market में sell कर दिए. So जो balance 100 units जो हमारा normal loss था, it is to be adjusted against abnormal gain. So what is abnormal gain? As I mentioned also, that abnormal gain is saving in normal loss. You can join these sessions. Anyone with any doubts or queries, guys, I just want I just want this concept to be clear to everyone. So anyone with any doubts or queries, as I said, why we are adjusting this amount? Because abnormal gain is what? The saving in normal loss. Anyone having any doubts? Yes, Ina. Linga, Geeta, Pujita, Khushbu, Medha, Manisha, Deepika, Harsh, Mustafa. Anyone having any doubts? Himanshu, any doubts? Riddhi, Kuldeep, Noshin, Shamli, Aishwarya. Anyone with any doubts? This concept is the key, very important concept. We can take up to 4 decimals. Admin sir, please post the link of the WhatsApp group. I request you guys to copy this explanation. In the meanwhile, those who have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Yes, Kuldeep, this is the way you have to present. Very, very important. Normal loss, when talking about the units that are actually sold in the market, it is only 100 units. Even though we were predicting a normal loss of 250 units, however, my actual units that were scrapped, and there was a loss of only 150 units. So these 150 units are sold in the market, and balance 100 units were adjusted against abnormal gain. So the balance amount to be transferred to costing P&L is only 1832. Miss Rabari, you are absent, I think, these days. Seeing you after a long time in the class. I request you guys to copy this explanation, please. So the units actually sold in the You can write this explanation also. See, this is the way you have to prepare the notes while I'm discussing the things. Because see, you will, while revising, you won't be able to understand that sir ne idhar 100 क्यों adjust किया. So do write your comments in your notebook in this way, that okay, abnormal gain is what? Saving in normal loss. So units actually scrapped in the market is only 150 units. So balance will be adjusted against abnormal gain. This is how you should prepare your conceptual notes. So every time you will, every time आपको recorded lecture check करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. Better write your comments in your notebook, prepare your own notes for the concepts. Trust me, you'll find this chapter and in fact the costing very easy. This is balancing figure Meda. So do prepare your notes in this way, that whatever you have understood, write in your language. So while revising, it will be helpful for you, to understand the concepts in a better way. So we are done with all the basic concepts, that is normal loss, abnormal gain, how to deal it within process account. Now let's discuss a full-fledged question wherein everything will be there. The similar question is there in the study material also. Further, the question is there in my set also, example number 4. I request you guys to either refer my material, or you can refer the study material also. So it is example number 4 from my material, that is RST Limited. I request you guys to please open the material or the study material, giving you 2 minutes time. We'll be discussing a full-fledged question on process costing now. Those who want can take the screenshot also. So let's start with this question. Example number 4. RST Limited processes product Z through two distinct processes, process first and process second. On completion, it is transferred to finished stock account. From the following information for the year 2021, prepare process first account, process second account, and finished stock account. So the details are given as regards raw material, transfer to next process, normal loss, direct wages, direct expenses, manufacturing overhead, scrap value per unit. So the details are given for process first and process second. 6,000 units of finished goods were sold at a profit of 15% on cost. Assume that there was no opening and closing stock of work in progress. So this is a full-fledged question. So let's start with example number 4. So let's start with process first account. One second, I'm just sharing the question. You can download the notes also from the portal. I have provided the notes. Those who have not downloaded the notes or don't have study material, you can please take the screenshot. Pooja, I hope it is done now. Yes, Pooja. It's, I think, illustration number 3 in the study material. Deepika has mentioned that it is illustration. Let me open the study material also. One second. It is illustration number 3 from the study material. So let's start with illustration number 3 of the study material. And in my set, it is example number 4. So let's start with process first account. So the first thing is raw material used. It is 7,500 units and the cost is 60 rupees per unit. So it is 4,50,000. Wages, it is given 135,750. Direct expenses are 60% of wages. So direct expenses are 81,450. Manufacturing overheads are 20% of direct wages. So it is 27,150. When talking about the normal loss, it is 5% of input. So 7,500 into 5%, it is 375. And these units can be sold in the market at the rate 12.5. So it will be 4687.5. So we can write this 4688. Nothing new. It's just the revision of what we have discussed till now. Now, when talking about the output, it is 7,050 that is to be transferred to the next process. So by process second, 7,050. So now 7,500 was my input. I was expecting a normal loss of 375 and my output I was expecting is 7125. However, my actual output is 7,050. So it means there is an abnormal loss of 75. We can say it is balancing figure also. Very good, Shamli. Very good, Minu. So now let's calculate the total cost. 4,50,000, 135,750, 81,450, and 27,150. 694,350. So we have to distribute this total cost minus the scrap value among these two. Ultimately, this minus this net amount is to be distributed among these two. So let's calculate the final value. So calculation of cost per unit. So my total cost 694, 350 minus the normal loss that is 4688 divided by my input that is 7,500 minus 375. So this will be 96. Very good, Medha. So multiply it with 7050. So this will be 682,402. 682,402. And this will be 7260. We can call it as balancing figure also. Anyone with any doubts or queries? Very good, Prajyot. If we take it as 4687, this will be 7259. Both the answers are correct. There can be a rounding of difference. So now let's proceed further. We are done with process first account. Now let's prepare abnormal loss account. I'm just revising what you guys have discussed till now. It's only the revision of what we have discussed till now. So when talking about abnormal loss, it is two process first. One second. Two process first, 75 and 7259, the amount is transferred. Now, just like normal loss, these units will also be sold in the market at the same price. So 75 unit will be sold in the market at the same price. So 75 into 12.5. So 938 rupees. So balance amount will be transferred to costing P&L. You can write the totals due to space constraint. I'm here just putting up the lines. So this is how the normal process account and abnormal loss account is to be prepared. Now let's proceed further. Let me check if there are any doubts. Very good, Pooja. It is 350 only. It's just simply the balancing figure. This is simply the balancing figure, Meda. This is simply the balancing figure. Just check out. It is 694, 350 only. Yes, it is advisable, Mangla. Yes, it's up to you. Both the approaches are correct, Mustafa. So now let's start with the preparation of process second account. This 937 is 75 into 12.5. I think you have not attended my previous session. Very simple. Just like these normal loss units are sold in the market, these 75 units are also sold in the market at same price. Noshin. So let's start with process second now. So the output of process first will be the input for process second. So it is 7050 units and 682402. Now, when talking about the wages, it is 129,250. Now, direct expenses are 65% of the direct wages. So it is 84012. Next is manufacturing overheads are 15%. So it is 19387. Now let's write normal loss. Normal loss is 10% of input, 705, into 37.5. So it is 26437. When talking about the output that is to be transferred to finished, the final output is 6525. Now see, let's check it is abnormal loss or abnormal gain. So 7050 was my input. I was expecting an output of 6345. That is 7050 minus 705. So I was expecting an output of 6345. However, my output is 6525. However, my output is 6525. That is 180 units extra we manufactured. So that is what my abnormal gain. We can call it as balancing figure also. Now we need to calculate the value of these two. Again, there will be no change in concept, be it abnormal loss, be it abnormal gain. So let's calculate the value. The total cost more than 5 we will round off. If it is 0.6 and onwards we will round off. It's up to you. You can take either of the ways. So let's calculate the total cost. 682402, 129,250. So this will be 140.0495. Very good, everyone. Very good, Shamli, Meenu, Meta. No, we have to write it as process first. See, in process first, it is by process second. In process first, it is by process second. So in process second, it will be two process first. It's the reverse entry. I hope it is clear, Pooja. Very good, Deepika. Very good, everyone. So now this account is done. Now let's prepare abnormal gain. See, we can prepare normal loss account separately for process first and process second. But process first, it is very simple, 375,4687 and buy back the same amount. So I'm just ignoring the normal loss of process first account, just preparing the normal loss for process second. Okay, so for your reference also, I'm just preparing normal loss account for process first. So two process first, same, 375, 4687, and buy back also the same amount, 375, 4687. So this entry is closed. Now the next entry for process second, two process second, the normal loss is 705 and 26,437. Now see, we were predicting a normal loss of 705. However, there is an abnormal gain also of 180 units. So we were predicting a normal loss of 705, but there is an abnormal gain also of 180 units. So balance will only be sold in the market. Balance will only be sold in the market. That is, only 525 units will be sold in the market. And the rate is 37.5. So this will be transferred to abnormal gain account, and these five, see, out of 705, 180 units is abnormal gain and balance are sold in the market. So herein, when talking about abnormal gain, it is by process second, one 80 units, and the value is 25,209, adjusted against normal loss, adjusted against normal losses 180 units, and the amount is 6750. So balance amount is to be transferred to costing P&L. $18,459. Again, nothing new. This is the concept I discussed at the beginning of the session today. Anyone with any doubts or queries? Again, I'm just revising what I have discussed till now. The same way, process first, process second, abnormal loss, abnormal gain, normal loss. Now let's prepare the last account, that is finished stock account. Let's prepare the finished stock account. So how much finished stock is received from process second? 6,525 units. 913,823. So now, out of these units received from process second, it is given that 6,000 units were sold in the market. Out of 6,525, the units that were sold in the market is 6,000. So this will be my cost of sales, and balance will be still in stock, that is 525 units. Their value will be same, 140.0495. So this will be my balancing figure 73. These two figures are valued at the same price, this price. These two figures are valued at the same price, that is this price, that is 140.0495. So 6,000 into 140.0495, this amount, and 525 into 140.0495, this amount. I hope this part is clear to all. Anyone with any doubts or queries? Yes, I hope you guys are finding this chapter easy now. Again, no rocket science. Whatever I have discussed till now, I'm just revising it. I hope you guys are finding it easy. Yes, anyone with any doubts or queries? Yes, Hina, any doubts? Mustafa, any doubts? Any sort of difficulty or complication in this chapter, you guys can please post your query. I just want you guys to be thorough with this part. Anyone? Yes, Kuldeep, Harsh, Aishwarya, Shamli, Aditya, Mustafa, Chaitra, Krishna, Rabari, Jaya, Sudarshan, Saurav. Anyone having any doubts? I'm asking individually to all, whatever you're finding it, I mean, whatever the difficulty you guys are facing, do post it. These sessions are conducted for you guys only. So, whatever running in your mind, why this figure, why that figure, why we are doing so, you guys can post. I'm there to address all your queries. But just one thing I expect from you is that if I ask question, I want answers from you. So whatever it is, because I'll be posting many questions now in the coming session, wherein I'll be asking you guys question and I want you guys to post your answer. So anyone with any doubts or queries, be it anything, you can straight away ask me. Till now, any doubts, Medha? So now let's prepare the profit and loss statement also. Now cost of sales we will write here 840297. By sales we will write here the sales value is, the profit is 15% on cost. So 840297 into 115%. So this is 966,342. So this is sale, cost of sales from finished stock account by sales. Now see, here abnormal loss, the amount transferred to costing P&L is 6322. So 2 abnormal loss. It comes from here. And abnormal gain, see, it is 18,459. So finally, we'll be getting the net profit. So this is the complete solution. So Those who have any doubts or queries, you guys can post. I think studying the study material, the abnormal loss, abnormal gain, and normal loss account is not prepared. So you guys can copy these are three accounts: abnormal loss, abnormal gain, and normal loss. In the meanwhile, those who want to copy everything can copy. In the meanwhile, whatever the queries you have, be it anything, be it conceptual queries, be it question related queries, do post your queries, giving you 5 minutes time. As I told you guys that just like normal loss, these see when talking about normal loss, if abnormal gain is there, what is abnormal gain? The saving in normal loss. So 180 into 37.5, 6750, 525 into 37.5, 19687 mega. This is the closing stock by balance CD 73526 is my closing stock, Mustafa. This is my stock that will appear in balance sheet. That is okay, Hina. No worries. Abnormal gain 180 is the balancing figure. See, 7050 is my input. My normal loss is 705. My output is 6525. So balancing figure will be my abnormal gain, Minu. 7050 was my input. 705 was my normal loss. So I was expecting an output of 6345. However, my actual output is 6525. So 180 is abnormal gain, Minu. Aishwarya, see the profit on cost is 15. Profit is 15% on cost. 15% on cost. So my cost is 840297. So if we add 15%, we will get this figure. So straight away I have written 115%. This abnormal loss, Noshin, see by costing P&L. See, it is by costing P&L. So reverse entry 6322 from costing P&L. Here it is to costing P&L. I think it is clear now, Noshin. It's just the reverse entry. You can add, see, 840297 plus 15%, you will get the same figure here. Harsh. See, normal loss, we are recovering how much? 37.5. See, we were expecting a loss of 705 units. However, there is an abnormal gain of 180 units. So, when talking about the units that are actually sold in the market is how much? Out of these 705 units, 180 is abnormal gain. So, balance units are only sold in the market at the rate 520. Sorry, at the rate 37.5. The scrap value is given in the question, Medha. No, nothing will be transferred, Sudhanshu. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Yes, Noshin, both the approaches are correct. At the end of the day, you are getting the same answer. So anyone else with any doubts or queries? So fine. Let's take a break of 15 minutes. I'll be back after 15 minutes with one more question, a different question. And thereafter, we'll start with the last part, that is valuation of work in progress. So let's take a break of 15 minutes. Admin, sir? Welcome back, my friends. So I hope you guys are thorough with the concepts of normal loss, and abnormal gain. We have discussed a full-fledged question wherein we have covered all the points, each and every point in detail. So now let's start. If anyone have any doubts or queries, you guys can post. Else we will start with the next variety of question. Again, when talking about the key points, abnormal gain and normal loss account preparation is the key. So you guys have to just keep in mind the treatment when abnormal gain is there in the question. So how to deal with the normal loss account, that is the key. Rest all, everything is easy and simple. So now let's proceed further with the next part. Let's proceed further with the next part, wherein, see, here until now we discussed that the output of a particular process is transferred to the next process at cost. Whatever the cost of the process is, the units that are transferred to the next process at cost. But let's take a situation wherein the output of a particular process is transferred to the next process at cost plus profit. So कॉस्ट प्लस प्रॉफिट पे अगर कोई पर्टिकुलर प्रोसेस का दूसरे प्रोसेस को ट्रांसफर करता है, so how to deal with it? I'll be discussing this part with the help of an example. Again, the same question is there in the study material also, so you can refer study material, else you can refer my notes also. So it is illustration number 6 of the study material. And in my material, it is example number 7. Either illustration number 6 of the study material or example number 7 of my material. So how to deal with the situation wherein the output of a particular process is transferred to next process at cost plus profit? So let's start with this question. Those who have not received study material or those who are not been able to open the material over the portal can take the screenshot of the question. So let's start. A Limited produces product AXC, which passes through two processes before it is completed and transferred to the finished stock. The following data relate for the month of October, where an opening stock is given, material is given, direct wages are given, factory overheads, closing stock is given. Apart from this, inter-process profit included in opening stock is also given. So herein we can see that there is some profit element that is given in the question. Now see, output of process first is transferred to process second at 25% profit on transfer price. So herein, till now, we were transferring the output of a particular process to the next process at cost only. But herein, in this case, it is given that the output of process first is transferred to process second at 25% profit on transfer price, or we can say sales price. Similarly, it is given output of process second is transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. Stock in process is valued at prime cost. Finished stock is valued at price at which it is received from process second. Sales during the period were 1,40,000. Prepare process cost account, finished goods account, showing the profit element at each stage. So let's start with this question, illustration number 6. Let's prepare process account. See, herein we have to prepare the table as cost, profit, and total. So my cost, my profit element, and the total. On the credit side also the same way. My cost, so let's start. Opening stock, it is 7,500. No profit element, so total is 7,500. Now material, it is 15,000. Wages are 11,200. Now see, very important, the closing stock. Closing stock is 3,700. Either we can place it on the credit side or we can deduct it from the debit side. Both the approaches are correct. So closing stock, either we can write it on the credit side also or deduct it from the debit side also. Both the approaches are correct. So here in the total, it is 7,500, 15,000 and 11,200. So it is 33,700. We can deduct the closing stock from here also. Both the approaches are correct. And my closing stock is 3,700. So net it will be 30,000. In this we will add factory overheads. My factory overheads are 10,500. So my total cost will be 40,500, 40,500. Now the output is to be transferred to process second. Now see, very important guys, my cost to the company is how much? 40,500. Now see, it is given that the output of process first is to be transferred to process second at 25% profit on the transfer price. So it means what will be the total amount? Very simple guys. 40,500 is my cost. Profit on transfer price is 25%. So transfer price, if it is 100, profit is 25. So cost will be how much? 75. So this will be 75 into 100. So this will be 54,000. So how much will be my profit? 13,500. The final profit is how much? So this is how to deal with when the output of a particular process is transferred to the next process at cost plus profit. So this process first is very easy. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. See, it is given. It's the rule that you might have learned in grade 11 or 12. So profit on transfer price is 25%. So transfer price is given. It means transfer price will be 100. Profit will be 25. Cost will be 75. If profit on cost is given, then cost will be 100, profit will be 25, and transfer price will be 125. Anyone with any doubts or queries? Yes, Sudarshan, any doubts? Sudarshan, any doubts? Sorry, Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, any doubts? Yes, Sudhanshu. So this is how process first is prepared. Those who want to take the screenshot can please take the screenshot. Now, now see, opening stock is given in the question. That is 9,000. And see, inter-process profit included in opening stock is 1,500. My opening stock is 9,000. Inter-process profit included in opening stock is 1500. So my cost will be how much? 7500. This is the cost to the company. Now next is the inputs that are received from process first. So it was 40,500, 13,500, and 54,000. These were the inputs that were received from process first. Now let's check the additional cost, material wages. Material is 15,750. Now see, very important point, the key point in this question. See, closing stock is 4,500. Closing stock is 4,500. And now see, read the second paragraph. Output of process second is transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. Now very important, stock in process is valued at prime cost. Stock in process means what? The closing stock of process is valued at prime cost. So here I have the prime cost. This is my prime cost, that is material, wages. Manufacturing overheads will never form part of prime cost. Manufacturing overheads will never form part of prime cost. I have discussed this in cost sheet. So this is my prime cost. This is 90,000. This is 15,000 and this is 75,000. Now herein I repeat again, in question it is given that the closing stock is valued at prime cost. So we have to subtract the closing stock also. My closing stock is how much? 4,500. Now see, very important guys. 1 second, let me check if there are any queries. Very good. So fine. Now see, closing stock is valued at prime cost. So now 4,500 is the total amount. So we have to remove the profit element. We have to calculate the total cost. So the point is how to calculate these two figures. So see, 15,000, this is what my prime cost. 15,000 is the profit on 90,000. So how much will be profit on 4,500? Can you guys please, can you all of you tell me please? 15,000 is the profit on total 90,000. See, it is given in the question, closing stock is valued at prime cost. So this is my prime cost. 15,000 is the profit on 90,000. So how much will be the profit on 4,500? Can you guys tell me please? Waiting for your answers. Very good, Deepika. Sudhanshu, correct answer. Jaya, correct answer. Meenu, correct answer. Kuldeep, I'm not getting what you're saying. Yes, it is correct now. $15,000 is the profit on 90,000. $15,000 is the profit on 90,000. So how much would be the profit on 4,500? 750 rupees. So my net amount will be how much? 85,500, 14,250, and my cost will be how much? 71,250. In this, we will add all the manufacturing overheads. Very good, Geeta. Ujita, very good. Pooja, very good. So manufacturing overheads are how much? My manufacturing overhead or factory overheads are 4,500. Till now, anyone having any doubts? Anyone with any doubts or queries, guys? Now, a question from my side. I want everyone to post the answer. Two questions. First question is, how much is the cost to the company? How much is the total cost to the company till date? I'm talking not from process prospect, but from the company's prospect, the overall company's prospect. How much is the cost till date to the company? 4,500 minus 750, you will get 3,750. Minu, 4,500 is the closing stock. We have removed the profit element. So my cost will be 3,750. Now, the question from my end is, how much is the cost to the company till date? Waiting for your answers. I want answer from everyone. Geeta, Medha, Deepika, everyone. So Pooja, very good, correct answer. See, the solving the question is secondary. First, you should understand that what I'm asking and what is the question. What is the cost to the company till date? I want answers from everyone. How come you got this figure, Himanshu? I'm not getting. Very good, Ashlesha. Manisha, very good. Still, I have not received answers from many students. Very good, Shamli. So, when talking about company's prospect, the cost to the company is 75750. The cost to the company is how much? 75750. This is the cost from the company's prospect. But when talking about the cost from the process second perspective, can you guys tell me how much will be the cost from process second perspective? Assuming each process is a separate responsibility center. So from talking about process second perspective, how much is the cost? From company's perspective, it is 75750. There is no profit element, neither from process first nor from process second. But from process second perspective, can you guys tell me how much is the cost? My next question, from process second perspective, how much is my cost? Very good, Hina. Very good, everyone. See, from process second perspective, see, this is the cost to the company. But for process second perspective, 90,000 is the cost. Very important. 90,000 is the cost. See, this is the overall cost to the company. But from process second perspective, 90,000 is the cost. Now, see, it is given that the output of process second is transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. See, process second के लिए cost क्या है? 90,000. That is the cost of process first plus the profit of process first plus the cost of process second. I repeat again, when talking about the cost of process second, what is the cost of process second? The cost of process first plus the profit of process first plus the cost incurred by process second. So here, till date, from process second perspective, the cost is 90,000. So how much will be the total? So very important, when talking about the total amount, it is 90,000 divided by 80%. That is 1,12,500. This profit is to be calculated on 90,000, not 75750, because 75750 is the cost to the company. But from process second perspective, they are concerned about 90,000. So this will be 1,12,500. So till date, the profit to the company is how much? 36,750. And the profit for process second is how much? 22,500. So this is the way process second account is to be prepared. If anyone having any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. See, this will not be 54,000. See, 9,000 is my opening stock. The cost of the units that are transferred from process second perspective, this will be 90,000. Now we'll be adding profit in 90,000. to get the total sales value, that is 1,12,500. I'm talking from process second perspective. Process second के prospect से देखेंगे तो cost plus profit of process first will be the cost for process second. This calculation is the key. This calculation is the key. Those who want to take the screenshot can take, and if anyone have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Those who want to speak also can raise their hand. I can unmute them. Those are like anyone having any doubts or queries. 1 second. Huh? I'm not getting what you are asking, Nino. Anyone who want to speak also can raise their hands. See, both the approaches are correct. Either you can deduct the closing stock from here, or you can put the closing stock here. Both the approaches are correct. Medha, both the approaches are correct. Those who want to speak also, I can unmute them. I just want everyone to be thorough with the concepts. I hope it is clear, Medha. Meenu, any doubts? I didn't took 40,500 divided by 75% because the profit was 25% profit on transfer price. Here, the profit is 20% on transfer price. So 40,500 divided by 75%, I got 54,000. And now, herein, this figure is important. ये figure से process second को कोई लेना देना नहीं है. This is the cost to the company till date. So herein it is 90,000 divided by 80%. Yes, that is also correct, Mustafa. Both the approaches are correct. Either you can write closing stock here or you can subtract closing stock here. Both the approaches are correct. Try to solve it on your own, Hina. You'll be able to go. I use the total amount. 40,500 was not the cost part, but the total part. 40,500 was here at cost also and at total also. So 40,500, I have taken the total part, not the cost part, Binu. Great. Now let's prepare the finished stock account. So see, opening stock is given 22,500. Now see, profit included in opening stock is 8,250. So it will be 14,250. Now from process second, the inputs received. So my cost was 75,750. My total was 1,12,500. And the profit was 36,750, I think. Now see again, read the second paragraph, second line. See, first line, output of process second is transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. This part is over. Now, stock in process. Stock in process means process first and process second is valued at prime cost. So that this part is also over. So stock in process was valued at what? Prime cost. That is opening stock, inputs, material, wages. But see, finished stock, they are saying that finished stock is valued at the price at which it is received from process second. I repeat again, finished stock is valued at price at which it is received from process second. So finished stock is not valued at the total amount. It is to be valued as per the price at which it is received from process second. So what are the data for process second? This is the data for process second. So if we want to subtract closing stock and we want to calculate the value of closing stock, see where closing stock value is how much? 11,250. So if we want to value the closing stock, very important, the total of these two is irrelevant. It is to be valued as per the figures that are received from process second. So herein these were the figures received from process second. So 36, again, we will not be taking the total. In process second, we took the total because it is to be valued at prime cost. But in finished stock account, it is to be valued as per the inputs that are received from process second. Not, so this figure is irrelevant for valuation. So 36,750 was my cost. Sorry, my profit for 1,12,500. So how much will be the profit for 11,250? 1,125. Sorry, it is 3,675. Hmm. So this is the total cost. Again, this figure will be the same. It will go here 82425. This figure will be carry forwarded here. Now see, is it given anything like that, the profit on cost or whatever it is, or straight away the sales figure is given? Straight away the sales figure is given, that is 1,40,000. So how much will be the overall profit to the company? 57575. This will be the overall profit to the company. And when talking about the profit for the finished stock, 16,250. So this is the way you have to deal with it. Herein, I have not taken the total amount, that is 36,750 plus 8,250 divided by 22,500 divided by 1,12,500. Reason being, it is given in the question that finished stock is to be valued as per the amount that is received from process second. Arun, I'm not getting. Can you please write in detail? I'm not getting what you're saying. So we have deducted closing stock. Pooja, I'm not getting what you're saying. Both the approaches are correct, Medha. Whatever you're finding comfortable, you can write it accordingly. But I think the best approach is cost, profit, and total. Cost, profit, and total. This is the best approach. I hope you are finding it easy, Medha. Medha, I hope you are finding this format easy. So just follow this format. This is easy and simple. How I have calculated the value of closing stock? 36,750 is the profit on 1,12,500. So on 11,250, how much will be the value? 3,675. Anyways, you can follow this format also. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Yes, Geeta, Medha, Deepika, Samira, Ria, Himanshu, Snehal, Harsh, Kuldeep, Linga. 11,250 minus 3,675, you will get 7,575. Total minus profit will be my cost. Very good, Mustafa. 11,250 is my total that is given in the study material. This is the profit element, what we have calculated, and this is the cost. I hope it is clear now. Meenu, Arun, can you please brief your query? I'm not getting what you're saying. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Hina, any doubts? Krishna, Chaitra, Pradyot, Kuldeep, Pujita, Ashlesha, Manisha, any doubts? Noshin, Abhijit. We are done with the cost plus profit part. So now let's proceed further. Let me check. Yes, Chaitra. So follow this format: cost, profit, and total. Very simple. Cost, profit, and total. Cost में profit add करेंगे तो total आ जाएगा. That's it. Yes, but I hope as of now you are thorough with the concepts, Hina. Yes, everything is important. 8 marks, Mustafa. So now we are done with normal loss, abnormal gain, a full-fledged question, inter-process profit. Now let's move towards the next part and the most important part of the chapter, that is work in progress. I repeat again, the most important part, you will find a question on work in progress in every attempt. In fact, there are 90% chances that the examiner is going to ask you the question on work in progress. So this is the most important part of the chapter. So let's start with the work in progress part. Again, many students find it a bit difficult. So now, guys, whatever I'm teaching, do pay attention. I assure you that you'll find this part also very easy and very simple. So do pay attention, focus on the concepts, do prepare your notes, and then write it down. Write down your notes. So while you're revising, you'll be able to understand the concepts easily. Trust me, it's easy. Generally, काफी लोगों ने उसको बना दिया. Okay, it's work in progress, equivalent units. It's nothing but very simple. So do pay attention what I'm teaching. Focus on the concepts. You'll find these questions also very easy. So 90% chances are there that the examiner is going to ask you the question on work in progress. So let's take a very basic example wherein my inputs are 10,000 units. I do assume a normal loss of 10% on input. Let's say 1,000 units. So of these, I'm left out with 9,000 units. When talking about these 9,000 units, we were supposed to get an output. Let's say 8,000 units, what we got were 100% processed and transferred to next process. So of this 9,000 units, 8,000 units were 100% processed and transferred to the next process. But when talking about the remaining 1,000 units, they are 80% completed only and still in process. They are 80% complete and are still in process. So I was expecting a night output of 9,000 and I got output of 9,000. But out of these 9,000 units, 8,000 units were 100% complete and transferred to the next process. But the remaining 1,000 units are still incomplete. They are 80% process, remaining 20% work is pending on them. So this 1,000 units are what? My work in progress. So what is work in progress? Inputs introduced into the process but remain unfinished by year end. So when talking about the meaning, material introduced in process but remain unfinished by year. So ये जो 1,000 यूनिट्स है, we call it as work in progress. जिस पे काम अभी तक complete नहीं हुआ है, that's why we were not able to transfer to process second. So what is work in progress? The unit started for production but remain unfinished by year end is what we call as work in progress. I request you guys to please copy this part. Work in process or work in progress, you can use interchangeably, Deepika. So units started for production but remain unfinished by year end is what we call as work in progress. Now the point is, it was very easy for us to calculate the value of the units that were 100% processed. It was very easy for us to calculate the value of the units that were 100% processed. But what about the units that are half processed or remain unfinished by year end? So when talking about the value of this work in progress, the concept of equivalent production comes into picture. Concept of equivalent production comes into the picture. See, when the units were 100% processed, it was very, very easy for us to calculate the cost per unit and to calculate the total amount. And that total amount was transferred to the next process. But if some units are still in process, how to value the same? The concept of equivalent production comes into the picture. Let's take a very basic example. Let's say my process cost is 1,80,000. My inputs were 10,000 units. My normal loss was 1,000 units. And my output was 9,000 units. So in this case, it was very easy for us to calculate the cost per unit. These 9,000 units were 100% complete. These 9,000 units were 100% complete. So my cost per unit was how much? 1,80,000 divided by 9,000 units. So that is rupees 20 per unit. This 20 per unit is what? The cost of the units that are 100% processed. So when talking about the cost of the units that are 100% processed, the cost is how much? Rupees 20 per unit. Now, if we are able to calculate the cost of the units, I repeat again, if we are able to calculate the cost of the units that are 100% processed, we can easily calculate the cost of the units that are semi-processed or half-processed or unprocessed. So let's say here in the cost of the units that are 100% processed is 20. So if we want to calculate the cost of the units that are 80% processed, it will be how much? 20 into 80%, 60. So if we want to calculate the cost of the units that are 60% processed, then the cost will be 12 rupees. If we want to calculate the units that are, let's say, 30% processed, the cost will be how much? 6 rupees. So the point is very simple. If we are able to calculate the cost of the units that are 100% processed, then we can easily calculate the cost of the units that are still in process. So this was a very basic example. Let's take one more situation. Let's take one more situation. Let's say my process cost is 1,20,000. My inputs were 10,000 units. Now, when talking about the output, we got three categories of output. First, second, third. Assuming there is no normal loss, we got the three categories of output. So first category, we got 5,000 units that were 100% complete. There was no normal loss. The inputs was 10,000. There was no normal loss. Now, when talking about the output, we got output for 5,000 units that were 100% complete. 3,000 units that were 80% complete. We got 3,000 units also that were 80% complete, and remaining 2,000 units were 30% complete. So these were the details. Herein the process cost was 1,20,000. My inputs were 10,000. When talking about the output, we got three categories of output. That is 5,000 units were 100% complete. 3,000 units were 80% complete. 2,000 units were 30% complete. Now the point is how to calculate the cost per unit of all the three categories of output. How to distribute the cost among all these three categories of output. So herein the concept of equivalent units or equivalent production comes into picture. Now, what is equivalent units or equivalent production? See, equivalent units we will calculate first. See, for the first category, 5,000 units were 100% complete. It means 5,000 units are what? My equivalent units. For second category, 3,000 units were how much complete? 80% complete. It means my equivalent number of units will be how much? 2,400. Third category, 2,000 units were 30% complete. So this will be 600 units. So total 8,000 units are my equivalent number of units. Now what it means actually? It says that the cost of first category it is 100% processed, so no worries. But when talking about the second category, it says 3,000 units were 80% complete. So my equivalent units are 2,400. It means what? That the cost of 3,000 units that are 80% complete will be equal to 2,400 units that are 100% complete. See, these 8,000 units are what? 100% complete. So what it says, what this equivalent production says, in this case, for this part only I'm writing. For this part only I'm writing. The cost of 3,000 units that are 80% complete will be equal to the cost of 2400 units that are 100% complete. I'll prove it also. Similarly, here in the third case also, the cost of 2000 units that are 30% complete will be equal to the cost of 600 units that are 100% complete. So in short, we have got the units that are 100% complete, that is 8,000 units. So now, once we have got the units that are 100% complete, we can easily calculate the cost per unit. 1 second. Very good, Sudhanshu. But just wait for some time. So the cost of the units that are, so herein we have got the units that are 100% complete. So we can easily calculate the cost per unit of the units that are 100% complete. So my total process cost is how much? 1,20,000. My equivalent units are how much? 8,000. So what will be the cost of units that are 100% complete? Yes, Kuldeep, 1,20,000 divided by 8,000, that is rupees 15. So 15 rupees per unit is what? The cost of units that are 100% complete. So if we want to calculate the cost of units that are 80% complete, it will be 15 8s are 12 rupees. If we want to calculate the cost of 30% completed units, so this will be 4.5 rupees per unit. So the point is, if we are able to calculate the cost of the units that are 100% complete, it's easy for us to calculate the cost of the units that are 40, 50, 80, 60% complete. So now we have got the cost also. So we can calculate the total cost. So see, 5,000 units were 100% complete. So the cost of 100% completed unit is 15. So this will be 75,000. Second category, 3,000 units were 80% complete. So 3,000, 80% completed units cost is how much? 12 rupees. So that will be 36,000. Third category is how much? 2,000 units. They were 30% complete, and the cost of 30% completed units is how much? 4.5. So this is how this total cost of 1,20,000 will be distributed. Anyone having any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. See, again, solving question is secondary. The point is what you are learning, what you are studying, the concepts part, this is more important. See, if you are thorough with the concepts, you can solve any question. So the point is the concept. Anyone having any doubts? Okay, guys. I request you guys to copy this part first, the basic part, because I'll be erasing this part. Still some explanation is pending. So I request you guys to copy this part, please. The basic part. heading this basic part, please. Ultimately, we are distributing this cost of 1,20,000 among these three. Nothing else. But the point is, we are distributing it in a systematic way. Kuldeep. I request you guys to copy this part. I'll give you time to copy this section. Just copy this part, please. Now see, there is alternate way to calculate the total cost. See, if we are able to calculate this amount, that is rupees 15 per unit, no need to do this additional exercise. See, I told you that the cost of 3,000 units that are 80% complete will be equal to what? The cost of 2,400 units that are 100% complete. So for first category, no change, 5,000 into 15, that is 75,000. No change. Now, very important, the second part. Here, what we did, 3,000 into the cost of 80% units. So here, alternatively, what we can do is that straight away take the C. These units are 100% complete, right? These units are 100% complete. So for second category, 2,400 units are 100% complete. 100% complete, so into the cost for 100%, that is 15. Similarly, in the third category, 600 units are 100% complete, so into 15. So 9,036. I told you guys, the cost of 3,000 units that are 80% complete will be equal to the cost of 2,400 units that are 100% complete. Third way also, the cost of 2,000 units that are 30% complete will be equal to what? The cost of 600 units that are 100% complete. So, when talking about the calculation of total cost, no need to do this additional exercise calculating 12 and 4.5 and calculating the total cost. If you are able to calculate the total cost if you are able to calculate the cost of 100% processed unit, straight away you can calculate the total cost. Ultimately, our motto is to calculate these figures. This is our motto. So you can avoid this exercise of calculating cost of 80%, 30%, and then calculating the total cost. Straight away, you can calculate the total cost. And when talking about the practical question perspective, I do recommend this method because it is less time consuming. So this is the concept of equivalent production. If you guys have any doubts or queries, I'm done with the basic explanation. In the coming session, we'll be discussing variety of questions. So giving you 5 minutes time to copy everything, then Arun, I'm not getting what you're saying. Anyone with any doubts or queries relating to concept of equivalent production, you guys can please post your query, giving you 2 to 3 minutes time to copy everything. Again, very important, do write your comments that, okay, this is what I have understood from this concept. This is what Sir taught. This is what I have understood. Every time it's practically not possible to check the recorded session. Always remember this point. This point is the key. What you will write, you will remember. Stop referring the notes here and there. Prepare your own notes. Trust me, you'll find you'll find the chapters very easy if you'll prepare your notes. So along with my class, parallelly, do prepare your notes on costing. See, this computation, this presentation is decent enough, but important thing is that what you have understood, write in your notebook that, okay, this is what sir taught, this is what I understood. Still, if you have any queries, you guys can please post your queries. Thank you so much, Mustafa. You have to check the recorded session. It's already 9:35. Meda. Yes, this is what is recommended. I'll be solving all the questions as per this way only. I'll be teaching you both the ways, but yes, in one question I'll be using both the ways. But at the end of that, even you will be able to figure out that this method is less time consuming because every minute is important while writing exams. So the point is wherever you will get time to save, I mean wherever you will get that opportunity to save the time, so better do save the time and just solve the question in this way. So that is better. I have not applied MEDA, FIFO, LIFO, anything. Just do check the recorded session. You'll find it easy and simple. Anyone else with any doubts or queries? Giving you 2 minutes time to copy everything, and in the meanwhile, you can post your queries. MEDA, it's a long discussion, so just check the recorded session. Still, if you're finding anything difficult, then I'm there in the coming session for process costing, so don't worry. So giving you 2 to 3 minutes time to copy everything. Very good, Meenu. Admin sir, can you please repost the WhatsApp group link? So, done with this explanation. One second. Okay, so done with the explanation part. So, enough of discussion for today. See you guys day after tomorrow with a few questions on work in progress and concept of equivalent production. Till then, I suggest you guys to revise what I have discussed in today's class. Again, when talking about costing, the concepts are important. It's not, okay, practice is must. But again, the point is before practicing the sums, you need to be thorough with the concepts. आपको concepts ही clear नहीं है और आप questions करते जा रहे हैं तो no point. At the end of the day, in exams, you won't be able to solve the questions. So the point is focus on the concepts. Concepts are the keys, and then try to apply the concepts. Then and again, you need to practice as many as possible questions in writing to score good marks in exams. So that is the key. So take care, guys. Thank you so much for your time and patience and for active participation in the session. Thank you so much, guys. God bless you. Enjoy your day. Thank you.